Let's try to go back to Danny Singletary, the former Coppin star. Let's see if that works out a little bit better. Danny, you there?
Yep, is I'm better.
It's a little bit better. Yeah, a little bit better. We just got to fix something on our end. Great, awesome. Thank you for getting that squared away. So yeah, what you pointed out, as we all know, I mean, Fang scheduled the world tour every year, right? Like
Yep,
you guys are playing everybody, and because you had played in all those kind of crazy environments, that made you say, we can go do this. This isn't crazy, us beating a team like this in a neutral courts.
exactly. When you go play a good tough out of conference season, playing in your own conference was totally different. So we was already prepared for that. But then going back and winning the tournament and coming back out and playing there, it just made it a whole lot more sense when we stepped on a court with a big team like South Carolina.
Danny, your shot is sort of thought of as the one that put it away, right? When you release the ball and you see it go through there with about 140 left in the game,
I think
yeah,
I know it was at the end of the game. I knew the shot clock was time going down. So I was just like, all right, if I can get over his hand.
right, right. Just gotta get when it goes down. Can you like take me through? Is there any way that you can recreate those feelings that you had in that moment, kind of knowing, oh, this is happening. We're doing this.
that oh man, that memory right there was crazy. But it was was even more that made that didn't make sense to me, but made sense. So when I shot the shot and I saw it go through in my head, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna see how they're gonna come back. So in my head, I'm like, now, as much as I want to celebrate, I'm like, all right, we gotta get back on defense now. Yo, you know what? What's my next? You know what I mean? What's my next step right now? Wait a minute, I gotta get back on defense. I know he's gonna try to come down and match me, and that was all in my head. So it was crazy that you said that because if you see the very next play, I got the steal.
That's right.
Um,
That's right.
right,
You weren't celebrating. You were
right,
still playing.
exactly. Like when I shot it and it went in, I was like, all right, what's the next play? You know what I mean? I know they're gonna come back and try to score real quick. Let me get back. As everybody else is celebrating, I'm like, yo, we know we need to get back because hey, they about to come right back at us. And just like that, I was just like, you know what? Even though, because my biggest thing was always, I knew I was always the underdog, but I always had to be ready for whatever happened. As being an underdog, like I celebrate when it's 0-0-0-0. But right now, we still in war. We
Yeah.
still, I
Yep.
mean, we still in a dog
Yeah,
fight.
we haven't won anything yet, and you guys knew
Exactly.
that was a loaded team. They were plenty capable of scoring points in a hurry. There's no doubt about that.
Exactly. And I mean, remember that's the year they beat Kentucky twice.
Right, right. Oh, they were very deserving of being a 2 seed. There was no debate about that. Like people hear South Carolina basketball, they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "No, no, no. That was legit as legit could be." That
Exactly.
that
They
team.
beat the big team Kentucky twice, where everybody was, getting ran through.
You guys had a great chance. Danny, as much as the memories of that day are so wonderful, are they at all conflicted by like the real chance that you guys had to to win again against Texas a couple days later? Like, how long did
That
it
that's
take? Yeah.
now that is the memory I don't look the the dwell about because that game and I never really brung this up. Ah man, that game. If we'd have beat Texas, I think we would have beat Wisconsin. I think it would have been a showdown with us in North Carolina at that time. Because if you remember, Texas lost to Wisconsin when they had that one shooter.
uh,
They lost to him 63-64.
was it Finley?
Not Finley, the other one.
Oh man, it'll take. I'll come up with it.
Yeah, but it was just the one guy in a squad that I mean, they always went to, and they lost 63-64. Texas lost 63-64. Remember, we played up in the 80s, so
Right, right.
it was a totally different game of how the style we played compared to how Texas played. It was, and Texas was a big team, so uh, if you look at their players, with Clot, they had big guards, huge guards. Reggie Freeman. So that was a game where and they big man was even bigger. So they smallest guy on the court at one time was like 6'3", 6'4", and I was sticking clat at 6'3",
Right.
and I'm only 6 foot. So that game, right? So it came all the way down to one. Even though you watched the whole game, we lost 82-81. It came down to the one play where I know, and I watched the whole game in my head, and the only thing I remember is the last play, and us setting up for a out of bounds right on our court, and me looking where when our man when Red got pushed, and I came because I was the release player. I was the relief pass on the squad. If I would have stepped up, and that's the one where Clack came in front of me and stole the ball. If I would have stepped and we would have collided, I knew I would have got the foul right there, and I knew for a fact that we would have beat them. I would have made those free throws right there at that time.
Still, it changes nothing about what you guys actually accomplished. I mean, I get it. You could accomplish more. What was the coolest moment in the aftermath of that for you, Danny?
The coolest, crazy. I'm gonna tell you, it was also a crazy moment as well. We went to remember Rod Woodson, right?
Yep, of course.
All right. He had a restaurant in Pittsburgh at the time.
Yep.
We went to the restaurant. We stepped in the restaurant with our Coppin gear on.
Yeah.
They didn't want to serve us.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Why? You guys just pulled off the greatest upset ever.
But guess what they said is some influential men in here that was upset that we won the game. So
hang on a second. Can I read that correctly? You mean like maybe like some perhaps mob guys that had some money on that?
Yes.
That is awesome. Oh my God, what a story.
Yes.
You guys did they end up serving you or not? Did they end up? No.
We had to leave.
God.
We had to leave. Yes. Nobody. I bet you never heard that.
I've never heard that story. You couldn't go to dinner because bettors, mobsters lost so much money on South Carolina that they wouldn't. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yes, the waitress said, "I don't think y'all should want to sit in here."
Oh,
and I didn't want to say that word, but they was like, "There's some guys that's in here."
Oh, that is incredible.
Highly of y'all
that is really incredible, man.
Yes. Yes. So we turned around quick. I was like, "Yo, we need to be out."
I mean, I don't know, guys like you. I'm kind of surprised you weren't ready to fight. I'm sorry.
You can see it was that. Oh man,
that is crazy. Did you get to? Was there somebody that you got to meet or that you got to hear from at some point after that? I mean, it wasn't the social media age, right? Like, so you didn't get to. Like UMBC won a game a few years ago, and like Steph Curry's tweeting with them afterwards, right? Because
we didn't have that luxury, but we did have the luxury of being the first historical black college to go to the tournament and win.
Yeah.
So having that, we went different places. Like afterwards, the Harlem Boys Choir. We went and we met them. We had a parade down in D.C. and met the Secretary of Defense there.
Wow. Wow.
We went to a Baltimore Orioles game, and Coach Van Mischer threw out the first ball. So we definitely had, for being, the first to do different things with the historic black college. We definitely had some things that we did that appreciated, the fact that this is the accomplishment that we made.
One of my favorite stories about you, were you even at Coppin State to play basketball, or did you have something else that you cared about a little bit more than that, Danny?
Yeah, that's crazy that you asked. Like, so I went to a NAIA school, Ohio Valley.
Yep.
And I came there on a baseball scholarship. So, yeah. Came there on a baseball scholarship. I'm talking to the baseball coach. So the baseball coach is like, "And I heard you play basketball over there." I was like, "Yeah." And I was All-American in NAI. I was All-American. Averaged 35. But I was like, this wasn't my sport though. I wanted to play. That was the love. My love was baseball. I wanted
That's
to play
so
baseball.
wow.
So, yes, it was great. And so he introduced me to the basketball coach. So the coach was like, "Wait a minute, you a baseball player?" And that's what he said. He was like, "You a baseball player?" I was like, "Yeah, but I play basketball," you know. And he literally, and with some guys in the gym. I'm meeting the head coach, Fane Mitchell at the time, and there was some guys downstairs. I'm in an eagle nest, and there's guys downstairs playing. So he looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he was just like, "Come on." If you ever heard Big talk, like, come on, he always, and from that point, and I said, you know what, give me some shorts. I had no problems going down there, and that's where I first met Turk, Jupac, Julian King,
Yeah.
Turk Ramak. That's when I first met them. They was downstairs. They was in the gym shooting around. Um, that's when I first met Antoine Brockington, and Reggie Welch. So that was the little squad that he already had there, and putting me together in the midst. I just meshed. You could see Turk was a big boy at the time, so with me, my behind, I don't, I'm in there going, oh man, this is a big boy.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Oh.
I gained Turk respect by we was playing a little game, a 3-on-3, and they switched off, and he's hitting me hard, and I'm sitting up here hitting him right back like, come on. And I'm sitting up here in my head like, what in the world is I'm about to get squashed right now? Cause he's like, yo, who is this?
Damn.
But he definitely, from that point, me and him definitely, talked, and then he was just like, "Oh, you coming here?" And I was just like, "Yeah," and of course, everything else is history.
It's
I
history,
walked
right?
on.
From being there to play baseball to being part of one of the
Exactly,
greatest moments in the history of college basketball. I mean, it's what
exactly.
an awesome story.
It was definitely a blessing.
Danny,
Definitely a
before I
blessing.
let you go, I want to know when you sit down the next couple days to watch basketball, do you find yourself rooting for low seeds
The
for 15?
underdog.
Or
Yes.
I almost wonder if it go the other way. Like, hey man,
I, I always root.
the more these guys that win,
I
the less
always
people
been the
remember us.
I've been the underdog all my life, ever since because I always used to be the smallest guy, so I always had to work the hardest. And you do. I mean, that's not taken away from the guys that work just as hard. I mean, but that's the favorite. But I always was the one that, hey, you know what? I want to see what happens when that guy that nobody thinks that can make it happen, see what he does. So I'm always rooting for the 15s, 16s, what I mean, the guys that people don't give them a good chance to win. But I always was taught, you put on the socks, and you put on
Yeah,
that uniform the
just
same
like
way
everybody
they do.
else. Yeah, right. No
Yep.
doubt, man.
So
No doubt.
stats don't win the game.
Let's go. Let's go Norfolk State. Let's go Texas Southern. Let's go. Let's go make some history.
Hmm.
I like everything about that.
Yep.
Hey, Danny, what can we tell people you're up to these days? And
Well, at this time, I live in Georgia now, and I work for Home Depot. I'm a loss prevention officer for Home Depot, and that's these days what I've been doing. On my off time, I'm still, in the community. I wish I was back at home in Jersey, but I'm doing a little something right now where I'm trying to help the kids out, just the consciousness of how to look at things now, because how the world is now, being a student athlete, you got to look at it from definitely a perspective of which how you can make yourself better. And I always tell them, that's the reason why a student is always in front of the athlete, because in anything you do, if you don't seem like you're a coachable person, if you don't seem, if you out here and you think you can be a good basketball player or a great basketball player, but you don't got no grades behind it, that coach not gonna look at you like that. You're gonna have to be a LeBron James now to get an opportunity where they're gonna go and look at the Steph Curry that has
right,
good grades, and on top of not being the basketball player as he is now, but he's coachable. So he's gonna always that potential is always a ceiling for you when they can see that you're deemed to be coachable. And you have a 3.4, 3.5 GPA compared to you having a 2.5 and a 2.0 GPA.
It's important. That's an important lesson to be sharing with young
Yes.
people, man. I appreciate that. Danny Singletary, man. I was a kid. Paul, Paul and I were talking about the other day. I was like 14 years old, and I was jumping off my couch. It was such a thrill. It was such an exciting moment. It was so cool to see Fang get his name on the court here at Coppin, and I really encourage
Wow.
everybody to check out On and Coppin, which is available now on ESPN Plus, which is a
I'm
great
gonna
look
have to,
back
because
on it.
I didn't really even get to watch it because I've been running around with Home Depot, and everybody been talking. They put me in
You
a group
got it.
chat, and
Yeah.
that's when I'm like, hey.
You gotta watch it, bro. It'll send some memories back. Danny, what a thrill it was watching you guys shock the world 25 years ago this week. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate everything you did, and thank you for the call.
Absolutely, man.